Joy.
Thank
Hey,
you.
you all.
Hey.
Hey.
I hope you can see us. We can't see you, but if you can't see us, if you can't hear us, then let us know. But I am so excited. And I'm excited because, God's timing is perfect. And we have no idea what it's perfect for until, a thought comes to mind or something happens. And I think that what this whole virus and shelter at home has done, at least for me, is first of all, it's reinforced what is valuable to me and how can I serve.
Yes.
And I'm so excited to have two radiant, gifted, wonderful beings with us today. And I just love them both. And I want to introduce you to them. And then I'm going to, hey, good afternoon. Julie Grace says she sees you, Duane.
Hey, Auntie.
And so I'm going to introduce them, but just briefly, because I want most of our time, we have until 3:00. I want most of our time to be them kind of sharing a little bit about what changed their lives and how they are using that to help other people change their lives. And so a little bit of history. Somebody said, I'm so excited. I'm not sure who that is, but I'm so excited too. And then I'm gonna try to keep track of time so that at least the last 15 minutes, so about 2:45, maybe earlier, we'll see. You all can post your questions, and then can you see Martha and Duane their questions?
No.
I
Let
moved
me
to
see.
my comments and I can do it.
Okay,
Yeah.
you can see. Okay, good. I can't tell who sees what. All this is new to me.
How do you move live comments? Hold on.
Where it says private chat, click over where to the right of it. It says live comments. You see it?
Hi, Amber.
Oh, hi, Amber. Hold on. Hey, come here, Amber.
Oh, Chris.
Say hi, Amber.
Hi, Amber.
She was making sure I was fine.
Okay, and you remember Roy Thomas and little Chris?
I do.
Okay, their mom's on here. She says she's so excited to see.
Hey, Auntie, my whole auntie system is there. Wow.
And so I'm going to start off with introducing you all just briefly. He's going to share the rest for those that don't know. I'm going to introduce him by saying that I am so grateful for who you are. And you've been who you are as long as I've known you. And now that just gets expressed in this way that is bringing me joy and so many other people joy, and giving me pause to think about things that I try not to think about. And also just letting me know how when connections are made, they're just made. Even if you don't see each other, don't talk to each other. And I know that it's a genuine connection because when we come back, it feels like no time has been lost. And I just love you. And I love
you too.
And
I love you too. We love you too.
So D is, listen to this, y'all. He is shelter in place in Hawaii. Now, what's that about?
I'm sorry. I am so sorry. I'm not trying to sound condescending, but I'm not complaining. It's pretty warm out here.
Yeah, I know.
No. In all fairness, you want me to explain why I'm in Hawaii?
Yes, but hold on. So
okay.
I'm going to introduce Martha. Some of you know Martha. Martha is she's a chiropractic doctor and acupuncturist. That's just her title. That's just what she had to do to train. She's a gifted healer. And my family and I have been beneficiaries of that. Many of my clients have been beneficiaries of that. And she just takes it all in stride. And Martha, I say, is just very comfortable in her strangeness. Martha.
Hey, I like that in you, Martha. I'm comfortable in my strangeness too.
Exactly.
And so I am wanting you all to talk. I'm going to go with ladies first.
Ah.
Absolutely.
And then, because I thought that would throw you all off.
Yeah, you started with me and then come back to me. So I'm assuming you want to talk about my transition after having a couple kids. Yeah.
And say that part as quickly or as slowly as you want to. We just want to make sure that you share from the heart whatever you know would be helpful for people during the time that we're listening. Yeah.
Right. Well, I love you also, Lisa, because, you know, your choice of words and what they come behind it is amazing. And I was listening to you introduce, and it feels like safe spaces. I know it's lovely space, but it's a very safe space to share, to expose yourself. I mean, that's what we did as a group. And, you know, everybody has life journeys that are tough to show you who you really are. And you can have multiple those, but one that really shifted myself and my practice happened during and after I had my second child. During my second child, I had to stop working because my physical body kind of said, you can't do this anymore. So I left where I was working from, was the primary income maker for the family, had my second child and decided to open my own office when she was 7 weeks old. And all of that adds a stressor to you. And then about a month after I'd opened, one Friday, my left eye kind of hurts and is not feeling right. So I go to this chiropractor that does cranial sacral because I'm thinking something's wrong with my head. I'll figure this out. And about Friday at 4, I'm like, that didn't help me at all. I better call the eye doctor to see what that's about before the weekend hits. So I went to the ophthalmologist and they said, you have optic neuritis. And by the weekend, you're going to be blind. I'm like, oh, okay. That sounds cool. So I don't really remember all how I thought about it. I know how I think about it now. Well, I was probably just freaked out, but who knows? And so by the weekend, I couldn't see out of that eye. I went back on Monday and they go, yeah, you got a pretty good case of it. Let's put you on the MRI machine. You have MS is kind of what they said. And you're going to go in the hospital. We're going to put you on IV cortisone. I don't know what else they were going to do. And I'm like, no way. I have this new little baby that I'm nursing. I'm a chiropractor. I'm going to figure this out. And so I went home and I knew when any disease is because you're too acid. So I got the Vitamix out. I got the Champion juicer out. I was just like, I gotta just alkalize myself like crazy and see what happens. And along the way, I thought, okay, I know the body can heal. I just don't know how. So I'm going to go to all the old chiropractors who are still lecturing. And I ran across some really good mentors. One would be Dr. Ted Morter. And he made me see how my thought patterns had produced this. Because I ate healthy, I exercised, I had the chiropractic lifestyle, yet here I was sick. And it didn't look good. And mostly I was really kind to everybody on the outer world, but very hard on me on the inner world. I was negative thought patterns and I'm not good enough. And why can't you get this done? And it was like a drill sergeant was yelling at me all the time. So I really realized how I had to change that thought pattern, and it doesn't go away quick. And one of them that I did was if my thoughts were my problem, and he also said every thought is a silent prayer and all your prayers are answered. And I was like, oh man, my thoughts are bad. I better change my prayers. And so, I looked at every thought is it health enhancing or disease producing? And I had to just keep shifting it. And then I looked at everything in nature because I was always positive with nature. And it takes a while to re-gear a mind that's very negative or critical oriented. I think sometimes the criticalness gets us to a place, but then you have to shift. So, because I don't the demand we put on ourselves might not all be bad because it made us a certain way. And then I just trust the process of every person I've ever met has helped me further expand. Here I am 21 years later. I haven't had an exacerbation. I've had a few other things, and I had to see a neuro-optometrist after a car accident, and I didn't write down I had MS, but I just write optic neuritis, and she looks at me and she goes, "You have MS." I'm like, "Okay, well, I haven't had any episodes for 21 years. Can you just leave me be?" Because the diagnosis doesn't do anything. It just names it.
Right.
It's just a name. And now who are you going to be in it? And, I'm choosing to express myself the best I know how. And I appreciate that you introduced me as a healer, because a lot of times I finally am going, yes, I am that, where many times I didn't see it that way. And just everybody's a healer. The mom is a healer. Dee is a healer. Anybody who touches somebody is a healer, because if a little kid falls down, you rub his knee, you're helping heal them. You love them, and love is the answer, whatever the question is. And I will maintain my weirdness for you and everybody, Lisa.
I drink to that.
Huh? You'll drink to that.
I'll drink to that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if you have questions about it, but is that what you're looking? I know that you want to show how we both overcome stuff, and it's got to be physical, emotional, and mental. And I mainly work with the emotional, mental a lot now, because that's what helped me. And you have to have the nutrition right, which I know that's where Dee's going to hammer, because I watched her video and it was super impressive. And the name doesn't mean anything, right? The diagnosis.
Absolutely. It does not define. I am not what happened to me. And it's just reminding all of us, I'm not what happened to me. It's real. I'm not what happened to me.
Right. Exactly.
You're amazing. That's good stuff.
Yeah. And I always who am I now? Who am I now? And every day I go, who am I now? And, I'm not quite totally locked down, because Illinois Chiropractic says be there for people in cases of emergency to keep them out of the hospital. So I'm here, and not very busy, but I'm here. But I don't know. I know a lot of people are quieted down, and that's what we need. I saw this one little square that says, to save humanity, all we have to do is sit still, can we? And that's a meditation in itself. And I think it's challenging to people, because when you have to look inward, you have to discover yourself.
Yes.
I can't hear you, Lisa.
Yeah, Lisa, I couldn't hear you.
Oops, I muted myself. Sorry. So Martha, can you share or expand a little bit on what you shared at Lovely Space, where we were all seated at the table and we needed to do.
Oh, we worked on beliefs.
Yeah. So can you share a little bit about that?
Sure.
And then you can take the audience through an exercise.
Yeah. Well, I realized, I think the belief that I used, that I saw, when you start dismantling yourself to find out who you are, you have to see what the structure is that you were built upon. And one of them that I realized, which held me back, was what will people think? And what will people think? And one time when my kids were really little, I was at my parents', which I love them, but you see, we get most of how we interpret and our beliefs from our parents, our teachers, our preachers, anybody of authority. When you're little, that's what you kind of believe. And so when I had the kids there, I heard about, I don't know, half a dozen, 30 times, I don't know, over a weekend. What will people think? Like a kid having a fit on the floor. Well, they'll do that for a while and then they'll get back up. And I'm not worried. My parents would go, what would they think if they would see you like that? So that was one of my dismantlings of what will people think. And I had everybody at the tables think about some of the patterns that are probably not worthwhile. And when you get them to consciousness, you can dismantle them. Like, I'm not good enough, which I mentioned earlier. I don't get enough done. I don't know, a woman shouldn't run a business, maybe. I don't know. You just have to keep breaking down whatever you think. A woman's place is in the home. Money doesn't grow on trees. I don't care, whatever the statements are that are holding you back. And I think the other belief for me is to really incorporate everybody is on their path exactly where they need to be. And so
Exactly.
whatever that is, because the best teacher is your life experience, and because it will work you over. Your teachers can only give you so many lessons, but the life lessons are where you're going to get your real big teachings. And then just to see, who do you choose to be in it? And I've learned I have to choose to be compassionate with all people, and compassionate to myself. There is no difference. It's a oneness within all of us. Yet we have a lot of different experiences. And I think it's enhancing. I always, as a kid, loved to read biographies, because you would read what people get over, and how everybody has trials and tribulations. There's no one probably on watching us that, think anything different than that. And, some people you may judge, but the whole thing is not to judge. That was another one when I was in these seminars. They said, like if you drive by a house and the bushes are high and you think they should be trimming their bushes, that's judgment. Just allow whatever anyone is doing, as long as they're not hurting anyone, and let them come through their experience in that. So I don't know if you want people to type in a belief that they're ready to get rid of.
Great.
Because by naming it and having a couple witnesses, can I get a witness?
Yes.
We can dismantle them. So I would love that if, because you had to get past neurofibroma, like that's fine. And I'm sure there was beliefs you had to break to get past that, Dee.
I'll get into it when I get into my story, but I woke up every morning and hated who I saw ever since I can remember, because I was tumor boy and nobody around me knew I was tumor boy. But now I'm at a point where I couldn't care less what anybody thought about me at all, about anything. Life is great.
Yeah.
So
with all these tumors, you see, that's tumors. I'm making tumors cool, because the kids with my disease are killing themselves because they don't like the way they look. So tumors are back.
That's right. So here's one, Martha. A negative belief: I'm not good enough.
Yeah, right. So reverse it. I am good enough. That's a simple. Every time your brain says I'm not good enough, you just cancel that thought, turn it around. Flip it around. We have to change perspective, or we'll do the same thing. And there's a lot of, if you want education, there's tons of it out there. But I always like Bruce Lipton's The Biology of Belief, because the negative thought patterns create negative chemistry, which make negative cells and gives the body problems. Positive thoughts build better chemistry for your system.
And someone else says, I should be farther. I've wasted so much time.
My mentor, Master Charles, which knows I love him so much. He would always end his mentoring with, "You're exactly right on time." And I would always hang up going, "Man, I feel so far behind." So I can relate to that, that I should be further along. And
so we could raise our hand for the late bloomers. That's why I said I have to live long, because it took me a long time to show up for myself.
Yeah. So I think the moment you realize you're exactly right on time, that's a big breakthrough.
Right.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
You know what? Let's just pause there for a second. And for anybody that's listening, and I'm going to do the same, is let's just pause, even if it's 30 seconds, and say those words. Can you say them once more, Martha?
I'm exactly right on time.
Yes. I am exactly right on time.
I am exactly right on time.
Exactly right on time.
I love that. Somebody said that's it. I don't know.
Look at it.
it takes a lot to turn the process. I mean, the old stuff is gonna fight you.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And
And repetition is the only way it's gonna become routine. Let me say that one more time. Repetition is the only way the behavior is gonna become an everyday routine. So yeah, do that 10,000 hours and it'll be normal like breathing.
Yeah. Yeah, and so there are people responding and they're saying, I am exactly right on time.
Yes.
So cleansing. This is so cleansing.
Yes.
And this is how we're spending shelter in place.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so
the other one, it can be the experience whose time has come. The experience whose time has come.
Right. Because if you believe in it, doesn't even have to be God. You have to believe in something greater than yourself. You know, everything happened on time because there's something greater than you. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
But when you think you man and God, it gets interesting. God is in you, but you ain't God, brother.
Right. So we're gonna.
How do you choose to flow with it? Is really it.
That's it. How do you choose to flow with it? So we're gonna pivot over here to D and share with us, and then we're gonna keep doing what we're doing. If you add something to it or acknowledge something with a comment, please do so. So tell us about you, man.
So, I was born Dewan Evans and had evolved to D. Anthony. And Lisa, I just got to tell you, years ago, watching you walk across that pulpit speaking, I hear a bit of what I do. I hear you and me, and then everybody that was in that church that I watched for 17, 20 years, just grab the microphone and help people through words. And several people told me I was going to end up a preacher. And I am kind of, it's just not tied to a label. Yes. Yes. So I just wanted to say that and say thank you, because I believe we were born with nothing. We didn't know anything. Everything is learned, including our fears. The only fear you're really born with is the fear of a loud sound or when you fall as a baby. Other than that, babies will walk across the street because they have no sense of fear. So I say all this to say, from the beginning, we were fearless. And what this is about is kind of shedding what we've been taught and getting back to where we started, and then rebuilding that without the fear, and understand that the FEAR is false evidence appearing real. Like it was never real. It's in your brain. And when you learn I'll just learn how to manage my turbulence, being born with a neurological disorder that causes tumors that spontaneously form on your peripheral nerves, and it's just you and your mother's secret, is a very, very interesting upbringing. My mom was an AIDS patient, diagnosed in the early 80s, probably lived longer than anybody in that time frame with AIDS, and she was asymptomatic. Most people didn't know she had it. But the way I watched this woman get up every morning and show up for life, I didn't know she was sick until the severity of her sickness, and it was AIDS, until 6 months before she died. So what must that woman have been doing every morning, knowing she has a death wish or has a death date of uncertainty, but I never knew it.
Yeah.
So in reflection, when I'm doing what I do now, I know that I had to go through all of this. I know she had to die for me to be here, because she would have forced me to do chemo with a bat. I just know my mama, and I wouldn't have broken her heart. I would have done the chemo, and I wouldn't be here like the rest of the patients that have been where I'm at. They're all dead. Nobody has put 8.5 years together fighting a 2-pound sarcoma. Nobody in the history of mankind. So when the dust settles and you're like in your 6th, 7th year, and you really can see what has really happened before you, you know that you're here for a greater purpose. I thought I was supposed to be a rapper, but my message wouldn't have been received had that happened, had several opportunities, but it didn't happen for whatever reason. I always knew I knew how to paint pictures with words, but I didn't know how the universe was going to use me until I came through those operations. So I want everybody to know first and foremost, I'm pretty much people are aware of my story, and I'm gonna get into it, but I want you to know that you are the sole controller of your reality. No matter what religion you believe in, what you put out is what you're gonna get back. It is a merit-based universe everywhere in the world. And this is where we're at. If you can't pay attention right now, what you put out is what you're going to get back. So I wake up every single morning with the intention in my heart to touch 3 to 5 people in hopes that I get 3 to 5 days. Like I made my life very simple. In order for me to wake up tomorrow, I have to touch 5 people. Everybody else is a bonus. And this is with the intention that I know I can at least sleep. I did what I said I was going to do. I touched 5 people. Now, hopefully, I'm blessed with 5 more days. And when I stay in my service, I can't think about I'm a terminal cancer patient that was given 6 months to live in January 2012, told to get his affairs in order, say goodbye to everybody he knows, and he'd probably be looking at a early June death date of 2012. So my experience is my life experience goes far beyond anything any human has told me in my ears. I'm gonna let that just marinate. I've just seen and I've experienced 5 times. I'm in pain every single day of my life, but that's better than not being here. And this is my thing. It's gratitude. My teacher told me when you stop feeling pain, you're dead. When you don't have any bills to pay and no problems, guess what? You turned into an angel. You better appreciate what you got, Dewan. Somebody didn't wake up this morning. And when you're feeling down, you better remind yourself that everybody that didn't wake up this morning, probably last night, didn't know they weren't going to wake up.
Yes.
And this is the game, the mindsets that I have to create to get through my days. I mentor dead people all day, every day around the world. Like my whole life is propping up people who are going through a similar turbulence using my success as a shiny object. But it's really just turning on rather what's in them that's in me inside of them and just showing you like I'm not special. This isn't magic. It's in you, but you got to try. You got to do your part. God's going to meet you halfway. This hole is going to fall out the sky because you prayed. Knock it off. It just doesn't work like that. I'm sorry. No matter what religion, you got to do more than pray. You got to do a little service. You got to add something to that prayer. I heard somewhere prayer without action is nonsense. And I'm just saying, and not trying to be religious, I'm telling you, I shouldn't be here according to all the top medical professionals. I did 200 push-ups. I did a yoga routine. I did a whole bunch of stuff this morning in my little humble abode. But I say all this to say is that I figured out just some rituals that I do every single day that get me to my next day. I'm not worried about 2 weeks from now. I'm not worried about the coronavirus because I woke up this morning. I can't worry about things when I'm here. And I can't, my life experience, and I'm not saying people shouldn't worry. What I'm saying, what you're going to get from me is no like, okay, no, you're going to get, let's face the corona, stand up in his face. Let's change our behavior. Let's read and figure out how to boost our immune system. Let's teach people that there's 30 feet of GI tract from your mouth to your rectum that's compressed into 6 inches. And if you do not remove that visceral fat that's been created because you've never chewed any mouthful of food 50 times and it's just sitting there, fermenting, becoming ammonia and uric acid, becoming the fuel in the environment that all disease needs to thrive. This is what we should be thinking about. Preventative health care, not a cure or some type of vaccine. How about not getting sick because my immune system is platinum? How about
Yes.
that?
Yes.
Like, as a terminal cancer patient, I am the worst. Technically, on paper, I don't have an immune system according to them. But I know what I've been fueling myself with dirt, with turmeric, with God's phytonutrients. You can only replenish white blood cells through earth-grounded food. That pill they got, it'll give you three they give you 3 white blood cells for 30 side effects. And to me, 3 to 30 ratio just doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
But if you teach yourself over time, the body is about how much concentrated solar energy can I consume and use to my benefit. Let me say that one more time. Your body is fueled by energy. The cow eats the concentrated solar energy that's in the grass. But understand, at the end of the day, what you're eating and how it affects your body depends on the concentrated solar energy in the substance you're eating. Everything needs the sun to grow. I'm fueled by God. That's the difference. And they don't want us to think like this, but just think about that. Concentrated solar energy. We're taking the sun, it's creating the plants. The animals are eating the plants, you're eating the animal, calling that protein. It is a type of protein, but you don't chew your food 200 times. So all of it doesn't leave your body. So things that don't leave will cause disease.
So let's
Peace
say
and
that
love.
again. Things that don't leave cause the disease. So I
Say that again.
am, as the things that don't leave cause disease. You should get that on a t-shirt. I'll buy some.
Things that don't leave cause disease. I mean,
And man, that is so hard. That
Right.
is so hard.
Well, you made me think of, like, you got to have active care. This passive care is not going to do it. You know, and everybody
exactly. Not in this environment. Not in an environment where people, instead of I do a lot of lectures, but people are focused on calories and counting ingredients. But really, what you should be looking at is expiration dates. In a capitalist society, the good market is based on how long your goods can stay good, right? So then preservatives are introduced. So not only are we not chewing our food, we're eating things that are designed to be good for 6 years on the shelf. Wondering why we're sick. And we all need a detox. Really, that's what it is. And it's not a colon cleanse, because your colon is plugged in your 30 feet of GI. So if you have a clean colon and a dirty 30-foot pipe, I mean, you're not really healthy. And I believe, in my experience, in my 8 years of doing whatever this is I do, I call it using my story as a shiny object and then slipping this education in while you're like, oh, what happened here? You know, and it's been an effective model while your mouth is open to hit you with these gems that saved my life.
Mm-hmm.
I was a power lifter, 10,000 calories a day, 40 pounds of chicken breast a month, whey and casein shakes 3, 4, 5 times a day in an effort to be the most healthy, the most physical fit human being on the planet. Okay? I did that for about 17 years, and I got up to 315 pounds. I was a 42 in the waist, but that acidity and that karma from eating 40 pounds of chicken for 17 years came to a head at an emergency appointment at the University of Chicago in January of 2012. Was experiencing extreme back pain and was 300 pounds, pulling 700 pounds off the ground and pushing about 450 off my chest. You couldn't really tell me anything in those years. I was very arrogant, pride and ego, still angry from losing my mother. I was just angry, and I took everything out on the weights in an effort to be healthy, and it was my therapist and all of that. But all of that behavior, because I was following the wrong information, created an environment in my body that turned on benign tumors that I was born with and converted them into malignant tumors.
Wow.
So I was born with a disease that tumors will grow forever. And my acidity kind of turned them into malignant peripheral neurological sheath tumor, which is a sarcoma. Everybody wants to know what kind of cancer. Sarcoma is bone cancer. People don't walk around looking like me 8 years later after having a 2-pound, 7-centimeter malignant mass pulled off of their spine. I'm not crazy. I am not lucky. I'm not the anomaly. I changed my lifestyle behavior. I gave up meat, dairy, yeast, and sugar because I met a gentleman that, and I ain't gonna say I met him. I know God put him in my face. And he knew this was gonna be hard because he knew that I was hard-headed. And he knew he had to beat me within an inch of my life for me to get it because I always been that kid. I don't listen until I get beat. Mama, I love you. I mean, you didn't beat me a whole lot, but I'm just saying that's the way I learned. And when God puts you through 11 back-to-back 9-hour operations because you didn't go see your doctor because your arrogant self was mad that he didn't tell you about something when you were 16 and that, whatever my reason as a dumb man of I'm mad at him, so I'm not going to go to the doctor. The one guy that has dedicated his life to my rare disease, my pride and egos, I'm never going to talk to him again. But my tumors are getting bigger. You know, this is the ignorant. This is how they program. Don't cry. Don't address your feelings. Don't talk about pain. And the thing is, when you do that, eventually it's going to spill over. None of us going to keep our demons inside. They are going to spill over. And mine spilled over in the way of a suicide attempt. I had this ritual. So my mother died September 13th, the second week of junior year. And I just got to tell you, my whole life was dedicated to this woman. She kept her foot on my neck. I was our key out of poverty. We just had, she programmed me. Anybody that's from where I'm from, they know I didn't snap out until she left because we had a plan. My school was going to get us out of just our situation. She presented a good show, but we came from nothing. It was months with no lights. I thought everybody heated their water up on a stove. But you never know. You never know how we were living. This is why I respect this woman with the utmost respect. That's why I named my foundation after her. Because in the 90s, when you said you had AIDS, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. As a country, with the coronavirus, it was worse in the sense that people would stop talking to you.
Right.
Like, want to fight you, shoot you, you got AIDS. Like, we're a little more intelligent right now, and we're dealing with it differently. Back in the 90s and the 80s, when you said you had AIDS, you're putting your life on the line. Like, people were paranoid. And my mother's in front of my high school with the megaphone condoms and HIV prevention literature, trying to save my generation. This is what I come from. And this is the only reason I'm able to do what I'm doing, because I watched the most amazing woman I have ever met give me an education that was only 16 years long. And then I met this gentleman that was a Buddhist monk, David Choi, that gave me the other part of that education. And then both of them together have created who I am today. But it took submitting pride and ego, and it took knowing that when you're doing service, you can't focus about this tumor that's throbbing in your knee. When your kid emails you, you know that I want to kill myself today, D, but I bumped into one of your crazy videos on Instagram and now I want to live. You understand why you're here.
That's right.
And it's not until we all understand why we're here will we stop feeling like we're in that quicksand. Because once you know your purpose, that quicksand turns into cement. You just want to stand on like, bam.
That's right.
Just like that. But it's a mindset. It's a mindset.
So, wow.
Sorry.
Don't be sorry. Don't be
You got
sorry.
me going. You
No.
got me going, Auntie.
There we go. I got one.
This is what we need right now. And it's being recorded. So people have asked me about that. It is being recorded. I got to figure out how to download and all that stuff. The coronavirus is making me have to learn a lot of stuff about technology.
Which is beautiful.
Which is
Which is beautiful. It's perception. Like, to me, this is getting to know your family.
That's
if you're
right.
into it with your spouse, y'all gonna have to talk this time.
That's
There's
right.
a whole bunch of different things going on that I see the universe just cleansing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't want anybody to die, but I know some relationships you're gonna float and sink. Like, and this is healthy.
Right.
Because if it's toxic, it wasn't supposed to be anyway. And I just see several levels of us behaving as globally the same way because of some force. I just can't put my finger on who's moving it, but somebody else is in control of everything that's happening because it's happening uniformly. It's uniformly everywhere.
Yeah.
That's why you know it's greater.
Yeah. So I want to ask you all to think about questions you have, and don't worry about looking at the questions, Dee and Martha. I'll look at them and I'll read them to you so you don't have to be looking back and forth.
Okay.
But someone earlier, and I have a feeling that this is the question, but there's another question that needs to precede it. Someone said, "Can you draw me up a food plan?" And when I think about that, I think, how many food plans have I had?
Right.
And how many have I been so serious that I'm going to do it this time? And what I'm hearing both of you say, that it starts at the level of belief and mindset.
Yes.
And so how would either of you or both of you answer, "I want a meal plan"?
I love, can I jump in? I love D's.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Because you can say, "Oh, people wanted me to post what I ate every day." And I'm like, "Oh my God, that would drive me crazy." So I couldn't do it. But if you think concentrated solar energy, that's it.
Concentrated solar energy.
That's what you said. So that's anything that you need sunlight for to grow. And the beauty of this, think about the kingdoms in the world. There's mineral kingdom, right?
Correct.
Feeds into the plant kingdom. And I had somebody goes, "Okay, what's the best filtered water system I can get?" And I go back to one of my teachers. Wait, just listen to this. And he goes, "The best filtered water is the water that comes in your fruits and vegetables because it's been filtered up through the ground into this plant and you're eating it." I mean, you're going to drink water too, but you got to have the fruits and vegetables. That's it.
Yes.
75% of your diet, fruit, vegetables.
Yes.
That's the meal plan. And how's that sound? Go ahead.
That sounds great.
But you have to eat what's fresh, what's in season, where you're at. I don't know.
So that's a great question, but there's a question before that. Before you can even get into your new meals, you need to remove what's been sitting there for 10, 15, 20 years. What we don't understand is visceral fat is not stomach fat. Visceral fat is on the other side of your skeletal, meaning that it's plaque and it's sludge and it's grime, and it doesn't just evaporate, okay? You can't burn it on a treadmill. You can't even lose it in the gym. The only way to remove visceral fat, let me get real close, is by not depositing the same things that got it there in the first place. Let me say that one more time. The only way to remove the fat that clogs your heart valves, lines your lungs, kind of paves your GI tract, this sludge that's in between your ribs that all collectively is poison. The only way to get rid of that is by not depositing those same substances for at least 6 to 8 weeks. What are the substances? This, you don't want to hear this: meat, dairy, gluten, and sugar. And at about 6 to 8 weeks of fasting, the body goes into what we call starvation survivor shock. So we're all on a plane, the plane crashed. We would have to hunt or find the caloric equivalent that has been fueling our existence thus far. And if we do not find that, our body goes crazy. Depending on how big you are, determines is it 4 to 6 weeks. Obese people, it's gonna happen a little longer because you got a little more of your body can eat. But for moderately shaped people that have that last 30 pounds, it takes about 4 weeks. And at about 4 weeks, the body starts to eat its own fat. This is how people starve to death, except in the process, we're replacing the meat, dairy, yeast, and sugar with healthy plant-based alternatives rather than you starving to death. But starvation is real simple. You don't eat, then your body uses all of the fat that's in your body to survive, then it moves on to your muscle, and then you die. All we've done in this process or protocol is remove everything that created the fat. And then the body, when it starts freaking out and tweaking at about 6 weeks, goes and finds, oh, there's that meat, dairy, it's under your rib. Oh, look at that chicken wing, it's on that flap. And it goes and it has, yeah, that rib, get it. And it goes and it eats and it sucks it off. That's the only way to get rid of that other than liposuction. There ain't no treadmill. It's not a diet pill. Visceral fat, and everybody could Google this, visceral fat, and what it does and how you can get rid of it. It's liposuction, or it's by your body eating it itself, and it will only eat it itself if you stop introducing the things that put it there in the first place. Once you do that, you're going to do the baking soda protocol, and this is what you guys can do. I have an email, and my wife can send the starter kit out. But I see a lot of things on the internet where people are giving the baking soda cleanse, but they're using Arm & Hammer. Arm & Hammer has aluminum in it. So while your intention is good, you know, you're really creating a different problem, because when you have so much aluminum in you, it's going to make you toxic. So if you want to do the baking soda cleanse, Bob Red Meals, okay, and Whole Foods 365, those are both organic, aluminum free. And if you want to get into the baking soda cleansing, baking soda, sodium bicarbonate, is the most alkalinic substance we can consume as human beings, period. So that's where the whole alkalizing your body with baking soda comes from. But the filtration, water systems, all of that stuff, all you're doing is pouring water on visceral fat. And in your brain thinking you alkaline. Like, it just doesn't work like that. Until you clean out, you're going to be on that hamster wheel. Hold on, let me show you my hamster wheel. Hey, that hamster be moving. That hamster go. That hamster be moving, but didn't go nowhere. Hamster sweating. Didn't go backwards, didn't go forward, but a whole lot of nothing. So I encourage you to take the steps first and do it the right way. And don't adopt a diet. Adopt a lifestyle. When you adopt a lifestyle, there's no really getting out of that, because it just is. It's like brushing your teeth or washing under your arms. You just have to do it.
This is good. So wait, we've got another question. And this one is, I've heard chiropractic therapy is a good cancer treatment. How and why? And while you all are answering, nothing will be interrupted, except that I'm going to leave for a second because I have to go to the restroom, because I've been drinking a lot of water over my visceral fat. Hold on.
Oh my God.
Oh, what about chiropractic therapy? Is that and cancer treatments? Well, I think all things is, well, probably Dee, you can say this too, that you have to incorporate a whole complete system. Like, one thing is not going to probably do it for you. And,
right.
You know, I could do all the chiropractic care in the world, and I received a lot of chiropractic care prior to me getting sick, and that wasn't it. I had to heal from thy insides. And so you have to look deeper. But is it helpful? Sure. Or I wouldn't be doing it still today. It's a way to help people get on the right track. Somewhere I was writing some notes, and I'm gonna say them. Like when you were talking about faith in God and praying. One of my mentors, the Dr. Mortar with the emotional component, he would say, most of you, and this was like in the 90s before all the internet, most of you have more faith in the JC Penney's catalog than you do in God. He goes, you place your order and you don't call up every day going, hey, do you got my order? Do you have my order yet? Do you have my order? Habitually will ask for the same thing all the time. And he was big on, you got to have active care. You got to be in unison with life source, however you want to see it. And I think that's where Dee's saying, you got to go beyond the religion. You have to go and meet the universal love energy directly. And then you're going to get that in the emotional, mental, and to get the physical, you have to eat it, which is the plants and the things that have been left for us to eat. And all those things are super abundant. They will reproduce if we did it the right way without these termination seeds. That's like you want to have healthy products that could go on and on, because that's the way God made it for us. I don't know if you want to chime in on that, Dee. I don't know.
I agree. There's there's not one thing. The three things that I believe every cancer patient, every person to be successful and live optimally, you need some type of fitness regimen, some type of mindset understanding, and some type of nutritional guidance. So for me, it's fitness, mindset, and nutrition. And mindset is getting rid of all negative people, places, and things, not forgetting who you are, where you come from, but you're not going to answer that phone to go to the bar. You're going to love them from a distance, like I do all of my people that I come from the life that I used to live. But this is about knowing that I'm going to get out of my life what I put in it. So every day is fitness, positive mindset, nutrition. Fitness, positive mind, nutrition. Chiropractic would have been incorporated into that. That'd be a bonus. Mm-hmm. But like what you're saying, that mind has to be right. And you have to agree to it. Like this ain't easy. Like change isn't easy. Mm-hmm. But it's possible. And that's all I don't know nothing. I just know that everything is possible. Right. I don't have no acronyms behind my name. I just know I've been here longer than everybody in my situation. And I can speak to hope. And I can speak to doctors not being the end all be all. We need doctors, but by no means are they God. And that's what everybody needs to understand. Don't throw your life in somebody's hands and walk away. And then when they make a mistake, you mad at them because you didn't ask questions. Ask questions. Mm-hmm. I asked questions. And when I didn't hear what I liked, I said it was great to see you. I appreciate what you've done for me. But, I could figure this out by myself. I'm going to die anyway, so I'm going to rather die outside. Mm-hmm. And it worked out. And I don't think it's hard to go against your doctor. Mm-hmm. The thing for me is I've had my disease for 40 years. And it was 35 years when I got sick. And everybody who listened to my doctor died. No offense. But I said, when it's my turn, mm-hmm. I don't have nothing to lose by doing the opposite of everything that he said. And I don't encourage you to do the same. But if you're stage 3 or you're stage 4 and you're not in my shape, mm-hmm. and they come with the kitchen sink chemo, you're going to lose 20 pounds. Kill your entire immune system. And I'd rather squeeze 10, 15 years of living with my cancer than living 6 months the doctors talking about we beat it and I'm dead. Mm-hmm. So let me say that one more time to all my patients. Mm-hmm. I got 8, look at my skin. My hair grew back. If you want 10 years, 5 years, even 2 years, of living with your situation as opposed to knowing that this treatment is going to proliferate it. Like I know everybody that did chemo, it just spread it around the body because they really didn't have a drug for us. But I only knew that because I'm educated in my health, I'm educated in my disease, and I know that nobody has spent billions of dollars for 200,000 people in the world. I just know how medicine works. So therefore, when you know that the only thing they could give you is some stuff that didn't work on some other stuff, and I know that it's not enough of us to reap a benefit or return. In America, you put $1 billion up, it's in trial for 20 years, you get approved, and this is how drugs work. And nobody has done that for NF. It's always been a drug that they already had that they tried to morph. And I watched us be the guinea pigs. This I know what I'm talking about because I simply just observed for 35 years and made a educated decision that, damn, I'm gonna die anyway if I go that route. What do I have to lose by looking at this holistic stuff? What do I have to lose? All I have to gain is some years, and it worked out. So I just think I'm that tangible proof that things are possible. Like nobody's situation is the same. But my point is, how dare you give up on life when we got a sky full of stars and the earth is this big and it's the whole world up there? How can you give up because a man told you that was it? If I would have listened to my doctor when he told me to say goodbye to all of my friends, all of my family, and make preparations to transition on, I know that my body would have followed and I would not be here. I just didn't feel like I was dying.
So I'm navigating what should happen next. And what I want to do is there are some people that had to leave, and some people that are still here, some people that don't have their questions answered. And so what I would like to do, if you're available, Martha and Duane, is that we're going to sign off from the Facebook Live, have a after chat, and I will ask you these few questions. And then that after chat will also be recorded. And so you can go to listen to it in Facebook groups, but I think that I can download it to our lovely space, which is our YouTube channel. So you can listen to it there, or if there are people that aren't in our group and you want them to hear this. And even if you've heard it, like for me, I want to go back and listen to it again and again and again. And so I want to say thank you to both of you. I feel like this could go on, like this could be a whole conference. So many wonderful ideas, so many questions, so many challenges, and so I'm sure that we'll do this again, but for right now, we're gonna go.
Yeah. Can I give one more thought?
Yes.
Thank you, Auntie.
Yeah, thank you. I love this one, that nothing happens to you, it happens for you.
Yeah.
And then you're in.
Yeah. And that's a hard truth to swallow at times.
Yeah.
But we'll see you later.
Yeah, and thank you, Lisa.
Thank you all. We're gonna do more. And somebody said, Dee, it's so good to see your handsome face.
Oh, thank you.
I have to read this to you because I think this is so important. Not that you can't read it for yourself, but I want to read it out loud. And one of the things, let's see if I can find it really early on. You were talking about your mom.
Yes.
And there were so many comments related to your mom. And
really?
Yes. And so one is, D, you don't know me, but I was your mom's babysitter in high school.
Wow. Oh, you're going to get me crying.
And
Come
she
on.
says, wow, I didn't know
Oh.
years later I would be listening to such an inspiring young man.
Wow. Thank you.
And
Thank you.
then we had someone else that said, your mom was amazing. Love her. My daughter has her middle name, Cherie.
Oh, man.
And we love you too. And
Love you too.
And someone else says, your mom had a bright light. And I could see Cherie smile with that little gap between her teeth that make it so sexy. and, you know,
oh, man.
you are her and she is you. And
Wow.
what an amazing opportunity for us to be able to see before and after. And thank you so much, Martha, because, you know, only you know all of the internal shifts that you had to make and continue to have to make to live by what is true for you. And it gives so much hope. It gives so much hope. And Amber Bobbin is on here and she says, thank you, Lisa Braxton Lackey. Amber is, I'm in love with Amber. I don't know her. I just got her face and her smile and her making some kind of, what was it? Avocado toast on the airplane.
Yeah, she is an angel. She is my left lung. And
Yeah.
hey, she played pro hockey in Switzerland. Don't let that face fool you. She's a hockey player.
That's the kind of women I like that have that scruffy side.
Yeah.
And also,
and she's a Scorpio, so that's the only person that can handle me is a Scorpio. You know, they a little too. You know, we
And someone else said, I am sure Cherie is very proud of you. She gave so much in a little time.
Yes, she did. And I realized I didn't really need the rest of the stuff. I'm looking for it, and she gave it to me in a compressed version. Like it took a few years. It took a few years to realize that my education wasn't in college.
That's right.
It was a different education.
That's right. And somebody said, Martha, keep knowing that you are a healer.
Yes, you are, Martha. Yes, you are.
Own that. That was super interesting. If you think about, Lisa, you brought us two together, and
you already were together.
We were together, but also when you look, my issue was neurologic internal. No one really knew anything was ever wrong with me, and Dee's is external, very aware that it's obvious, and that's the yin and yang of life. And you put us both together here today.
You know, and God did that. It's like that. I am so out of my way lately that it scares me that I'm so out of my way.
Yeah. That's another thing I learned, how to get out of my way.
Oh my
blocking my own blessings. You block your own blessings.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna read one more. And this one is, someone said that they were your mom's nurse.
Come on, man.
I don't know who it is, because some of the people's names don't show up, so you have to put your name in it if you want me to know who you are. If you don't, that's fine. And then somebody else said, and she didn't play around.
No, she didn't play around at all. She didn't play at all. My ears still. Hey, wait, my ears are pierced still, because I think she's gonna come down from heaven and smack me. Like, I didn't pierce my ears.
All is love. I mean, just love, love, love. One of my favorite rappers is Nipsey Hussle, and he just like love.
That was love.
And so love. We're gonna end love.
Love. And let me just say one more thing about you, though, Lisa. I learned in my journey that some of us are regular and some of us burn a little brighter. We're all candles, but some candles are bigger than others. We're clearly influencers who have taken on the work of influencing everybody else with either what we've been through in our life experiences. But understand that the bigger the candle, the bigger the dark spot.
That's
because
right.
there's not one candle in the world where you can see the light. The light from the top of the candle never hits the bottom.
No.
And this is why when you're doing what we're doing, it's extremely important to plug in the positive people, places, and things.
Yeah.
Because on our bad days, my teacher told me your bad day can take you out of this life
Yeah.
from cortisol building up and proliferating your cancer. So I would encourage you, influencers and people who are the light in other people's lives, make sure you stay connected to like-minded people. It's the only way you're gonna do the maintenance in your life.
That's right.
That's all I wanted to give. Thank you, Auntie.
And we're gonna take it to the back room. You all let your light shine out there too. And I'll record it. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Auntie.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Martha.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Lisa.
Mm-hmm. See you in a minute. I'm gonna send you another link.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.